Okay, so Unit 1, Assignment 1. What you need to do is obviously cover all the criteria, and to find out what that criteria is, if you go onto Moodle, into the Business Resources page, so you go into your year, our faculty and the Business Resources page, you'll see that at the top you've got Student Book 1. And that opens up, and you can actually, you can either download a copy or actually read an online version of it. And obviously Unit 1 is right at the beginning, so you can either download, I think you only have that, it expires after a little while, but you have to put your college ID in. So you've got a book there with all the background knowledge in it. So, and again on Moodle, back to this folder here, if you open this folder, it tells you all the unit specification. That means all the things that you need to cover for this unit. But in here, it's got more than just the first assignment. It's got all the assignments. It tells you about the unit, so you can have a look through that. We're literally, with this assignment, just covering learning aims A and B. Those other 3 learning aims actually come next year after we've finished our Unit 3. So you'll have a look and you'll see that for this particular assignment, you're literally just covering these 2 learning aims, where we've got to break it down and make sure you're covering all of this. So I'll just show you. So what I need you to do for all the things that start with A and the bullet points, so there's A1, there's A2, A3, B1 and B2. What we've got to do is show our understanding of all of these things, but the way that we do it is we choose 2 businesses and then we give their examples, but you have to show your understanding. So for example, on Moodle, I'll just quickly flick over and go back. So I've got the specifications still open. So if I scroll down to Unit 1, right. So what we've got is we had 2 businesses come in to talk to us. Aura Events, and they do the New Forest Marathon yearly. That's their biggest event, but they do other events as well. So they've got 2 websites. If you search for Aura Events, they've got that website. If you search for New Forest Marathon, they've got that website as well. And it's basically the assignment's really based on that New Forest Marathon event. Then we've got the Lighthouse Learning Trust, which is our college, is a trust, a charity that runs Richard Taunton's College and also St Vincent's College in Gosport. So within here is most of the information that you need. Okay, so just flicking back to wherever I put my file, can't find it now. Where did I put it? No. Where is it? There. Oh, right. Okay. So, for example, I would want you to sort of tell me what you understand by ownership and liability. So, are they a private limited company? Are they a sole trader? Are they a partnership? You have to show me that you understand those 2 different companies and what status they are, and what does liability mean. So you need to read the book and show that you understand the different types of ownership very briefly, but you're saying Aura Events is, and you're going to say what they are, and you're going to say what the Lighthouse Learning Trust is. And when you're showing about that, you're showing me that you understand what a private limited company is, for example, and whether, you know, they're, because part of obviously a college, it's public, so it's government funded, and for example, the college is not for profit. However, Aura Events, you'll realise that they actually they do want to make a profit with their marathon, but part of what they do with the marathon is they encourage people to raise money for a charity which is called the Community Fund. So they are for profit, but they have another bit of charity on side of it. So you have to show, I want that as a heading. All of the main bullet points need to have the headings. So, and then what you do, so you'd write ownership and liability, you might want to give a brief explanation of what that means, and then you go, or events is, etc., etc. Lighthouse Learning is not-for-profit, private limited company, whatever. And so you're just showing the explanation. Then you go on to purposes. Have a look in the book, what does that mean? And then you'll explain whether the business for or events is for profit or not for profit, or whether Lighthouse Learning Trust is for profit or not for profit. So then you've got sectors as another heading. Read the book, tell me which businesses go into which sections. What's the scope of the business? Read the book, it tells you that. For example, all events at the moment are local. However, they could spread and do other events nationally. Give me an example of the different sizes. So read the book, do me a brief paragraph on the different sizes, and then tell me your two businesses. What size are they? So you're demonstrating your understanding. Why do you think they're a success? Look at their aims and objectives. On the New Forest Marathon site, you'll see that their aims and objectives. You can look at, in the Unit 1 resource folder, there's quite a lot of resources on here. If you look at, there's two PowerPoints for the Lighthouse Learning. So the PowerPoint there and there, they've got like organisation charts, and they've got their aims and objectives. I can't remember which one it is in, but have a look at those. So I'm hoping you're getting the idea. You've got to cover each one of these bullets. So when you go down, you'll have a heading, stakeholders. You'll explain what internal and external means. And then you'll say, give examples. And those examples you'll find on the videos. Are you getting that? Yeah. So you've got to go through all of the A's. Now this bit you've got to think of some examples of the sort of different communications. You know as a student how many communications you get from college and whether they're any good or not. So we send you, we have face-to-face meetings with you when we're interviewing you for your college course. Then you might get a letter, you might get text messages, you have one-to-one meetings with teachers, you have presentations from your teachers. So you're just one stakeholder, but think of the other stakeholders that we have, the other people that we deal with. And internally, you know, I have one-to-one meetings with my manager. We have team meetings. We just had one on a Tuesday where everybody gets together. So you've got to think about the different types of written communication, verbal communication, and why those are important. Then you've got to look in the book and just research the different types of organisational structure, the different types of departments and what they are and what they do, and you're given examples of each of your businesses. Give me your aims and objectives of the different businesses. So you need to find them on the website or on that PowerPoint. And you need to say whether those are smart objectives or not. And if they're not, then how would you make them smart? Okay. So that is basically covering the past. Ignore all that because that's later on. So this first assignment, if you wanted to get all the passes, that's what you've got to do. P1, P2 and P3 are all the passes. If you want to get the attempt at the higher grades, M1, M2 are there. This is what you've got to do. And then that's the distinction. Now what I will do, if I read your work, I'll be seeing, has he covered that? Has he covered the passes? Or, and I read this section on the back, right? And this, for learning aim A and B, that's what you've got to do to pass. That's what you've got to do to get a merit. And that's what you've got to do to get a distinction. So I want a Word document with page numbers on it, nice headings, and all these as headings and really neatly presented. Your words have got to be business-like. You can't use abbreviations like won't, don't, and all that. You've got to say do not, for example. And just give it a go. It's not actually that hard once you get into it. Good luck. Why can't I stop it?